So we have already studied about the connections with the medulla oblongata, about the ascending descending tracts, and also the connections to the cerebellum. Now we are going to discuss about the anterolateral connections of the brainstem, right? So anterolateral connections are nothing but cranial nerves, and already we also studied about the cranial nerve nuclei of the brainstem. Here in the medulla there are 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. They are the pure cranial nerve nuclei which are present in the medulla oblongata. So we will see those things. Then we are going to discuss about the three cross sections of the medulla later, right? So what are those cranial nerve nuclei which present in the medulla? Already we have studied about it, isn't it? What is this nuclei? This is a hypoglossal nuclei, and this hypoglossal nuclei are related with the general somatic efferents. So where it's going to supply? It's going to supply to the tongue, skeletal muscles of the tongue. And what is this green marked? And dorsal nucleus of vagus. It's a dorsal nucleus of vagus, and it is related with the general visceral efferent fibers, which are going to supply to the from here the head and the neck to the thorax to the abdomen. It's going to supply the visceral organs, right? And what is this? This is a nucleus tractus solitarius, and this has both GS general visceral afferent. These are the sensory component. General visceral afferent, that is a sensation which is coming from the visceral organs, and also the special visceral afferents, that's nothing but the taste sensation. It is related with the taste sensation, the most lateral part of this tractus solitarius. Then this is a vestibular nuclei related with the balancing, and these two are the dorsal and ventral cochlear nuclei related with the hearing. And this is what? This is a spinal nucleus of the trigeminal nerve related with the touch pain and temperature part of the head and neck portion. And what is this? This is a nucleus ambiguus. And what is this? The pyramidal tracts, the descending tracts which are coming from the above from brainstem and going down to the spinal cord. And this is the nucleus. What nucleus? It's a inferior olivary nucleus, through which it's going to produce a olive part of the medulla, right? So before coming to that, I want to recall your memory about the spinal cord once again. Okay, so what we have here, the gray matrix shaped, and this is the dorsal root, right? The dorsal root related with the sensory components, isn't it? And this is the ventral root related with the motor components. This is also clear. Always dorsal root, the dorsal root will have a sensory ganglion. Okay, later they are going to join and form a nerve in the spinal cord, isn't it? See, this is the anterolateral sulcus. This is a posterolateral sulcus. Same thing is going to change here, isn't it? This is the anterolateral sulcus. This is a posterolateral sulcus. So anterolateral sulcus are they are the motor exports, isn't it? They will send motor fibers through the anterolateral sulcus. Whatever the nerve should come through this one, they should be motor in action. And whatever, this is a posterolateral area, whatever the nerves which will come out here, they should be little bit sensory, isn't it? And what, remember this one, what is this? Dorsal root ganglia, right? Whatever the neuron will come out of this one, they should have some ganglion part. Okay, I'm not going in detail about those part now. I'm concentrating only those nerve pathway inside the medulla. That's it. We will discuss about these ganglion part later. And what are these? They are the sensory components. This much is clear. So we will discuss about the cranial nerve pathways and their attachment on the medulla, right? So what we are going to discuss today is about the cranial nerve attachment. What we know, this one is, what is this? Cranial nerve which arises between the pyramid and the olive. Those are the rootlets of 12th cranial nerve, right? This is the hypoglossal nerve, and this nerve is this pathway should go where? Here, hypoglossal nucleus. Okay, and this hypoglossal nerve is going to supply where? This hypoglossal nucleus is going to supply skeletal muscles of the tongue, right? From there is going to supply it. Okay, so there is no other fibers get related with this hypoglossal nucleus, right? This one and this one, right? Okay. So next is about vagus. Vagus is a 10th cranial nerve. From where it's going to arise? This is a 9th, this is a 10th, and this is 11th, right? The 10th cranial nerve is going to come out of this posterior lateral area, right? We'll discuss about 10th first, right? Right, okay. 10th cranial nerve should come here, okay? The vagus nerve. So vagus nerve contains what all the components that we have to discuss first, right? So generally we know that the dorsal nucleus of vagus, it's a main content of this one, which is going to supply where? To the thoracic and abdominal visceral organs, motor supply to the visceral, motor supply to the thoracic and abdominal organs. So it will give G, S, E fibers to the motor organs, right? Then what? The sensation which has to come from the visceral organs, isn't it? The distension, the pain of the visceral organ, they have to come through the same nerve, and that is get connected where? They have to get connected to the medial component of the tractus solitarius. Okay, this will give motor supply, and this will receive the sensory supply from the general visceral afferent. That's why the medial component is a general visceral afferent of this tractus solitarius. Not only that one, it also get connected with the taste sensation. Previously we have discussed about how the taste sensation from the 7th, 9th and the 10th cranial nerve will receive the taste sensation. The 10th cranial nerve receives the taste sensation from the posterior most part of the tongue, isn't it? You remember this diagram, no? Okay, posterior most, this is from the 7th, this is from the 9th posterior aspect of the tongue, and the 10th cranial nerve which receives the sensation from the last, the posterior most part of the tongue, that has to be carried. So where it has to get connected? To the lateral aspect of the tractus solitarius, which is related with the taste sensation. Okay, next what? Vagus nerve not only carries the related to these things, it also going to supply some of the tongue muscles, right? So it is also get related with the nucleus annulus, right? We know that the external meatus of the ear, okay, that has a small branch from the vagus nerve, okay, that is also a nerve supply to the external acoustic meatus, part of the external acoustic meatus. That is also going to, what is going to get take the sensation from the ear? It is going to get sensation from the touch pain and the temperature part of the ear. That is also, okay, from where that has to carry where? To this spinal nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. So that is also get connected to the 10th cranial nerve, to the spinal nucleus of trigeminal neuronal complex. Right, this is about the vagus nerve, right? And next is about, we discussed about 10th and the 10th and 12th, 9th cranial nerve. So what is the 9th cranial nerve? 9th is a glossopharyngeal nerve. The glossopharyngeal nerve has to supply where? The glossopharyngeal nerve is, the name only suggests, glossus means the tongue, pharynx. It related with the posterior portion of the tongue and the pharynx and the soft palate. So there is going to supply. From where is going to take a sensation from? Which nucleus? The glossopharyngeal nucleus is going to take supply from the, again, nucleus annulus. And it doesn't have its own nerve. It has to carry through the vagus nerve. So it's also going to supply, right? So one motor component of the glossopharyngeal nerve. But there are another two component of a sensory to the 9th cranial nerve. What is it? It also carries the touch, temperature and pain sensation from the posterior part of the tongue and pharynx and soft palate to where? Touch, temperature and pain sensation. Where it has to carry? That has to get connected with again to the spinal nucleus of trigeminal. Right? Spinal nucleus of trigeminal. Then what else? And it also carries the taste sensation. It also carries the taste sensation from the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Remember this one, posterior part of the tongue, to where it has to carry? It has to carry the taste sensation again to this lateral component of tractus solitarius. Okay, this is the lateral component of tractus solitarius. Right? This is about the 9th cranial nerve. This is 10th cranial nerve. This is the 12th cranial nerve. What else is there? So we left out about 11th cranial nerve. What is 11th cranial nerve? Accessory. Accessory nucleus is also related with this one. Okay. So here the nucleus ambiguous, and again it is going to supply the laryngeal muscles. Okay, laryngeal and the soft palate, pharyngeal muscles. Okay. Again it will little bit, it runs along with the vagus nerve. Again it is going to supply the portion here about the this is about the 11th cranial nerve for the pharynx and soft palate and the tonsil part. Okay, those they are going to supply this 11th cranial nerve. Right, these are the cranial nerve. One thing about, actually we have included this vestibular nucleus here. See, the vestibular nucleus has superior, inferior, lateral and medial nucleus in them. In that, at least slowly about some part of the inferior and some part of the medial nucleus of vestibular nuclei are related with the medulla. But majority of the vestibular nuclei present in the pons only. Right? So it is get connected with the vestibular nerve from the each side of the ear, from the vestibule part of the internal ear. Okay, there it is going to get connected. Right? This is about the vestibular nerve and it doesn't have much difficulty. And what we have anterior to this one and here, this one and this one is a dorsal cochlear nucleus and this is a ventral cochlear nucleus. Again, the cochlea, from the cochlea of the internal ear, you know that this is a cochlea, vestibule and the semicircular canals are there. This is the vestibule. From the vestibule, these are the fibers which are getting connected, right? From the cochlea, hearing, from this cochlea, this nerve is going to arise, right? And this cochlear fibers are getting connected here and dividing here and getting connected with the ventral cochlear nucleus. So the cochlear fibers here and to this here, right? And obviously we have vestibular supply to this one, right? This is about the pathways and connections of the cranial nerve inside the medulla. Details of these things we study in the pathways in the individual cranial nerve when we study about them, right? Now we will discuss about what we have, the cross section of medulla. Now we will discuss about the component of this cross section of the medulla. It will be easy when we have studied about at least some components of the medulla. At least since from 2 classes we are studying about the the contents of medulla. Now it should become somewhat easy to understand. And we are going to look at the major components, not every minutest component, but at least some major components we are going to study, which we have to remember. Okay, so this is the midbrain, pons, medulla, and this is a spinal cord. Of this medulla will be done in a 3 level of cross sections, right? One is at the major decussation level, where the pyramidal decussation is there. This is the first cross section study will be there. Second one is at the level of a sensory decussation, where the arcade fibers are going to come at the sensor. This is at the motor decussation. Second at the sensory decussation, and third at the mid-olivary level, olive at the center portion. There are 3 sections we are going to study, and this is a first diagram where we have to study about at the level of pyramidal decussation. This is the second diagram what we have to study here at the level above the pyramidal decussation, and the major sensory decussations are there, right? And the third one is this one is about the mid-olivary section. Okay, and here we are going to study. First one, here we have to start. Let us place some of the component what we know, which right here. What is this one? Okay, this is a pyramidal tracks which are coming, descending tracks. What they will do about the pyramidal track I am speaking about. This pyramidal track is going to. This is about the decussation level. What they do? They cross on the opposite side. Okay, they cross on opposite side and runs downwards. As what? They have to run downwards after the pyramidal decussation. From where the fibers are going to carry? From the cerebral cortex. From the cortex to the spinal cord. What fibers are these? These are the pyramidal, the cortico-spinal tracts. So after crossing over, what they will become? They will become as a lateral cortico-spinal tracts. Okay, in spinal cord they run as a lateral cortico-spinal tracts. Okay, anteriorly some uncrossed fibers are here. Okay, only here they are the ipsilaterally downwards. They are the anterior corticospinal tract. But what we see majorly, this is what is this? The crossing over of the major motor decussation. Right? Legs. Next, what we have? The easy thing. What we will study first. See here, it is 2 nuclei are there. What is this nucleus? Gracilis nucleus. And what is this nucleus here? Here it should be cuneatus nucleus, right? And what it has here, the fibers related with the fasciculus cuneatus. And what we have here, the fibers of fasciculus gracilis, right? These are also clear. Next, what are they? Okay, we have here the 2 descending two ascending tracts here related with the cerebellar, spinocerebellar. So these are the 2 spinocerebellar. This is a dorsal spinocerebellar tract. This is a ventral spinocerebellar tracts. Okay, which are again ascending in nature, right? These 2 we will find on the most lateral side. Correct? Okay. Next, what is this? Tell me, what is this? Here, what we will find on this and the medial to this dorsal and ventral, the dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tract. What we will find? The lateral spinothalamic tract. What is this? Is a lateral spinothalamic tract. Do you remember? So here the lateral medial the ventral spinothalamic tract and the spinotectoral tract are not much conspicuous here. Okay, all together what they will become? The bundle with the lateral spinothalamic tract, ventral spinothalamic tract and the spinotectoral tract together what will form? What they will form? Spinal lemniscus. Remember, above when it comes to the pons, that will become spinal lemniscus. Okay, so here it is a lateral spinothalamic tract will be there. correct? And at these, the sensory decussation has not taken place, right? And here is our what nucleus and what cranial nerve it is. This is a 11th cranial nerve. Cranial part of the 11th cranial nerve. What is this? Accessory nucleus, accessory nerve. This accessory nerve has a cranial and a spinal part, isn't it? So it is a spinal part of the accessory nerves are there here, but not cranial. Cranial will find here in this 11th, right? The rest of the thing is nothing about. Here we have our central canal. Central canal is still intact and the central canal is moving towards the dorsal side. Okay, this much is clear. Everything is fine. And see, the central canal will come here. Little bit somewhat the grey matter will be there. Same just like our spinal cord grey matter is there. Same thing will be there. But the grey matter is reduced around the central canal here, and central canal is not at crossed. Okay, not at opened. Okay, here in the upper level the central canal is opened. Okay, here it is not. Correct. So again let us place our normal features what we have found here. This is a gracilis nucleus and the fibers for the funiculus gracilis, right? And what we have here, this is a cuneatus nucleus and the fasciculus cuneatus fibers, right? And again what we have here, the pyramidal tracts. Okay, so we don't show the pyramidal crossover here, right? Because at this level the pyramidal cross is at the lower level. This level the crossing over is taken place, but not at this level. We are studying about the second above the pyramidal decussation. So they are not. But below as we go, they are going to cross down. Right? So we are not discussing about this. What we have? The pyramidal decussation. Here you see that the inferior olivary nucleus, what it has to come here, it is very small here, but it is little bit is there, but not considerable part. And slowly what we have, a small portion of the inferior nucleus is going to come here, right? Then what is there? And obviously what is this? The dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tracts are there here and here, right? And anterior to that what is there? This one, lateral spinothalamic tract will be there here. What is there here? Lateral spinothalamic tract. What are these? These are the dorsal spinocerebellar tract. This is a ventral spinocerebellar tracts. Right? Major thing here what we have to see is the sensory decussation. Okay, sensory decussation. See, they are going to come at the medial level, right? So from opposite side, the sensory fibers are going to come here from the gracilis nucleus. These are the second order neurons, remember, right? So from the cuneators also, they are going to come over here. Okay, so both gracilis and the cuneators, second order neurons, come at one point on the medial side of the tectum or the tegmentum part of the mid part of the medial part of the middle, right? So above what they will do, they are going to run upwards as what? Already we have know about it. This is will become a medial lamniscus, right? So at this level, medial lamniscus is not there. This level we will see that medial lamniscus is going to fall. Below to that there is a crossovering is there. And what is this crossovering is called as? The crossovering of these cuneatus and the gracilis fibers, second order neurons, are called as what? Internal arcuate fibers. Right? Here the motor decussation, here the sensory decussation. They are the sensory fibers, isn't it? Right. Then what we will find? Slowly a small portion of hypoglossal nucleus are going to appear here. Okay, the hypoglossal nucleus is going to appear. The major portion will come here, but small portion of hypoglossal nucleus is going to come appear here, and small portion of the lower fibers of 12th cranial nerve also going to appear on the surface of this area. Correct? Okay. Nothing much. One thing I left out. See, we know that there is a spinal nucleus which has to run downwards till the upper part of the spinal cord, isn't it? That also present here. What is this? Spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve. Correct? Then what else? Okay. Here is the thing, but in the rest of portion will be the reticular formation of the brain stem. Okay. Next here, almost all. We will place this one. You have to tell what is this one. These are the hypoglossal nucleus, conspicuous hypoglossal nucleus will be there here, right? Then what nucleus we are going to present here, lateral to this one. This is a dorsal nucleus of vagus nerve, right? Next what? And this is, remember the what is this? The tractus solitarius, the nucleus tractus solitarius nucleus will come here. Then what else? Then what we will find? Then we will find the ambiguous nucleus somewhere here. Okay, the nucleus ambiguous is going to come somewhere here. And see here, what is this? These are the medial lemniscus. They are the continuation of the crossover fibers above. This is the medial lemniscus. Right. Then obviously what we have here? We have the pyramidal tracts, that is nothing but the corticospinal tracts coming from above. Next, what else we have? Do we find this dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tract here? No, because already they went to the cerebellum, isn't it? From here to they are not there. But the lateral spinothalamic tract, little bit it's going to present here. Okay, lateral spinothalamic tract, right? So what else we know here? So the most lower part of the vestibular nucleus is going to present here, and here the cochlear, ventral and dorsal cochlear nuclei are there. That's it. Very simple. To understand this cross-section study of the medulla, already we have made a lot of circus behind. That's why this is going to become a little bit easy. Okay, so in the same way, we are going to study about the pons also.